Welcome, everybody. It says that the Google Hangout is live. My name is Carmen Drawl, and I am a senior editor at Chemical and Engineering News, which is the weekly news magazine of the American Chemical Society. And we're here today for the first of two Google Hangouts to meet the semifinalists for the ACS Chemistry Champions Chemistry Communications Contest. I'd like to introduce my colleague, Darcy Gentleman, from the Office of Public Affairs at ACS, and he'll be introducing the first group of semifinalists.
Thank you very much, Carmen. As Carmen said, I'm Darcy Gentleman, Office of Public Affairs here at the American Chemical Society, and happy to debut our semifinalists here beyond their Twitter and YouTube presences. We're happy to be joined by Alexis Schusterman from Berkeley, Ashley Robinson from Fort Lewis College, Jeff DeBrown from the University of Minnesota, and Jennifer Novotny from Cornell. So I'll toss it back then to Carmen, and please send in your questions either using the hashtag ChemChamps over Twitter or through the chat devices on the Hangout.
Thanks, Darcy. So we're just going to keep it simple and ask, we'll go one by one. First question, why did you become a chemist? Would Jennifer Novotny, would you like to start?
I sure would. Main reason I became a chemist was I love chemistry. It's so much fun to experiment in the lab every day. You get to find out new topics, learn about the world around you, and you just get to experiment and have a good time.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Sorry, me?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Yeah, so honestly, it's kind of similar to Jennifer there. I'm just really excited by how chemistry has an impact on just about everything, right? It's oftentimes when people think about food and what we eat and flavor, you don't think of chemistry, but when it comes down to it, chemistry is everywhere. Chemistry is food. Chemistry is flavor. And understanding that and be able to impact those kind of things, that's what kind of drove me into chemistry and makes me excited to keep doing chemistry.
You just wanted to brew your own beer, right, Vivi?
Oh, exactly, yeah, whiskey. That'll be the dream when we buy a pot still.
Awesome. How about Ashley?
I started actually as a pre-med major. Everyone in my family, except for one brother, so I have 7 siblings, is in the medical field. And so I started off doing that, and I fell in love with organic chemistry. And my professor asked me to be in his lab over the summer, and his one weekend I was like, this is it. And I went and switched my major to chemistry, and that was 2.5 years ago.
Wow. Very cool. Alexis.
Oh, sure. So my confession is that I am a second-generation chemist. Both of my parents are chemistry professors. And so I actually spent a long time rebelling against that idea in kind of the typical way. So for most of high school and a lot of college, I said I would never do chemistry. And then I think anyone who has had a family business sort of can understand, it just kind of keeps pulling you back. It's sort of like your fate. It feels really familiar and pleasant to me. And then when I discovered atmospheric chemistry, well, I did not personally discover atmospheric for myself. I discovered atmospheric chemistry. And that really brought chemistry into a grander scale that I could really latch onto and observe better. And it was, something that I really cared about already was the environment and air quality and water quality. And so chemistry sort of pulled me back in and sealed the deal.
So it's like the prodigal chemist.
I guess. Returning again.
That's great. I'm not going to let you off the hook, Darcy.
Why I became a chemist? Well, I had an interest in astronomy in high school through Carl Sagan, and it was through in undergrad I really enjoyed chemistry classes, specifically analytical, and I was better at them than physics. So that made the decision somewhat simple. And the math and I parted ways around third year, and I ended up pursuing a doctorate in analytical chemistry at Arizona State University. And since then, I've been applying my interest to communications. So here I am in public affairs, American Chemical Society, and having our set of chemistry champions take the stage.
Awesome. I, like you, Alexis, my mother was a chemist by training. She was in Spain, and that's where she got her degrees. But she came here to the States, worked in chemistry for a while, and I guess that was part of the reason that brought me into it, although now my mom does not do chemistry. But hey, here we are, and I ended up studying biochemistry and organic chemistry, but decided I liked communicating more than running columns. So here I am. So I guess the next question I wanted to talk to you about was about the contest itself. What made you want to do Chemistry Champions contest? So I'm gonna mix it up and not put everybody on the spot at the same time. So I'll start this time with Ashley, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine. I decided to enter the contest because I come from a writing background, and I wanted to have an opportunity to see what the training was like that you guys were providing at the conference, and I thought it would be a good way to start to broaden my horizons in communicating the research that I've been doing. And also, I really wanted to have more people be able to go from my school, and so if I was able to make it to the semifinalists, then maybe more people could go because the grant money was so much. So
did that happen?
I sure hope so. I've been in an REU program at a different state for the last 8 weeks, so I'm not sure what's going on yet.
Okay, well, I'm knocking on my wooden desk for you.
Yeah.
How about Jennifer?
So the Chemistry Champions contest really acted as a springboard for me. I've been wanting to make my own series of chemistry videos, and so it was a great opportunity to get started making those videos and to start my blog. So if you guys want to check it out, it's commonchemist.com, and every week I look at a molecule that you might encounter in your daily life. And so this contest really gave me that momentum to get started on this project.
Very cool, Jennifer. Thank you. I'm going to do that radio announcer thing, which is, for those of you just tuning in, we're broadcasting live from the American Chemical Society and all over the country, where we are introducing some of the semifinalists in our ACS Chemistry Champions Chemistry Communications Competition. So we're asking what brought these people to get into this contest, and we're now going to have Jeff Dubrow chat about it.
So I think there's a lot of misinformation out there about food chemistry in particular, right? People are inherently distrustful of food scientists, and really if you mention chemicals and food, people have a really instinctive gut reaction. And part of why I wanted to enter this contest is to show, like, look, we aren't just putting additives and harmful things in food, right? There's a lot of beneficial things with food chemistry. It's bringing flavors that you like to food, it's making food more wholesome, more healthy, and of course also, you know, the trip to San Francisco is a nice bonus.
That does not hurt.
No.
Alexis.
Yes. So like Jeff, I'm in a field that has sort of a lot of misinformation out there in terms of chemistry of the atmosphere, and a lot of the global climate change, global warming talk has sort of spiraled out of control as a science communications issue. So that certainly encourages me to put myself out there as an atmospheric scientist. But during that teenage rebellion we talked about earlier, I spent a lot of time doing theater. Pretty much every aspect of theater. I was director, actor, singer, dancer. I did circus arts for a while. And so I kind of developed a passion for it then, and this is a nice way for both for me to indulge those passions while I'm, back in the clutches of chemistry, and also to bring those skills that I have developed into a discipline where not necessarily all chemists have had the time to cultivate those skills. And so the Chemistry Champions Competition is a great way to meet the other people with this interest and get some extra training in it.
Well, Carmen, we have a question that's come in over Twitter to all of the semifinalists here. That is, who are your favorite science communicators, and what about them makes them special?
All right, who wants to take that?
So there are two people I really think of with science communication. I think Neil deGrasse Tyson has done a wonderful job with his reboot of Cosmos. I think we probably all have watched that. And it's great because it does a great job of bringing science to a very understandable way, which is great. It makes it accessible, and it helps sort of bridge that gap between scientists and non-scientists. Another science communicator I really like following is on Twitter. They do compound interest, and they make great infographics about different parts of chemistry and chemistry in the world, and I think they present it in such a straightforward way. It's nice to follow.
Yeah, we recently profiled the gentleman behind compound chemistry in CNE News. He's a chemistry teacher, and I don't know that his students realize that he's so admired. Anybody else want to talk?
I'd like to throw one in.
Please.
So one of my favorite science communicators actually isn't a scientist by training, but she is I believe still the current editor of the science section of the New York Times, Cornelia Dean. And I had the amazing privilege to take a class with her about a year ago. That was a complete sort of deviation from what she really considers herself qualified to teach. Since she's a journalist, she usually teaches journalism, but she taught a whole class on the fate of the coastlines with sea level rise and with various erosion issues and things like that. And it was a science class that she taught as a science journalist. And just the way with which she can relate all these stories of scientists that she has talked to, but also disclaim her certainty about an issue and her understanding is just really elegant and something that I think we all aspire to.
I don't know if anyone has read, I'm assuming everyone here has read books by Sam Keen, Disappearing Spoon. I know that he's going to be at ACS conference, so I'm really excited about seeing him, but he's one of my favorite authors, writes about chemistry. I love his stuff. So, also another great chemical communicator.
Boy, I'm trying to think who my favorite chemistry communicator is. I would have to have a vote for Deborah Blum. She's a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist. Now she's going to be heading the Knight Science Journalism Foundation, but she is currently at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and she is the author of The Poisoner's Handbook, which is, it was adapted into a television show and is a cool book.
I'm going to put in a plug for the another non-scientist by training, but Simon Garfield, who wrote the book Mauve, that I religiously stole from the promo to the Chemistry Champions video. But it's a neat story of someone who invented the modern world, essentially, through chemistry and fashion. And he also writes about, he has a book on fonts. It's called Just My Type, which is an interesting, I'm also a big fan of the chemistry content Wired magazine when they talk about the components of a given common household thing. Adam Rogers writes in there sometimes, etc. And of course, at CNEN, people like Carmen Drawl. And props to Carl Sagan, as I mentioned.
Flattery will get you everywhere, Darcy. Did we miss anybody?
I blue screened out in the middle of that, I believe.
Oh my. Did you get
Yeah.
the question?
I did not.
Okay, the question was, who's your favorite chemistry communicator?
Oh, that's a tough one. Does Bill Nye count? Because, I mean, he is somewhat of a chemist. The guy, I think, plays a really influential role, right, in getting chemistry to children, which is an important audience, right? Because if kids get introduced to science and chemistry at an early age, they don't have such a negative impression, or like, oh, science is hard, it's just beakers, colored liquids and beakers. And really, I think he does a good job with that. And especially, I've seen more of, more adult-oriented outreach from him recently. For example, I think he's been doing a few debates. And the guy's a pretty effective communicator.
Definitely. So we only have 3 more minutes before we need to wrap up. So does anybody have anything that they wish to say to folks watching there?
Chemistry's pretty cool.
Darcy, I believe you had an announcement.
I do have an announcement. So over the powers of the digital interwebs, I want to convey this written thing. This is the URL. We're going to be tweeting and broadcasting this out widely in the coming days, but this is the URL for the live stream that we'll have for the finals on August 10th at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, and 5 of the semifinalists that we have will make it through to those finals. And so there is a chance that some of the people you've seen today right now will be there, and the next set that we have coming up, best of luck to all of them. But all of you watching, please tune in Sunday night, August 10, to see some chemistry champions in the
And I just want to tell folks that are watching, don't go away, because we're going to close down this group of Hangout with this group of semifinalists, and we're going to have a second group of semifinalists coming up at about 4:30. So stay tuned, everybody, and thank you for watching so far, and we'll be back with a new group of folks shortly. Thank you to the 4 semifinalists who are participating right now.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. It's great.
Bye.
Bye.